Unemployment is an old man, so that's the whole tricky though.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm with Jerry.
People that smack while they eat.
Definitely psycho.
Like it's something that
So I started like when I was 15. I started hustling, trying to make some money. But I started
saying that y'all know about these benches, but she didn't say benches.
No, she said it.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Apartment 4A. Fellas, how y'all doing, man? Miss y'all last week.
Doing good, man.
Yeah, we're doing good. You
Eric held it down last week, Rod.
Yeah, I think we had a high. I think we had our highest numbers last week. So
Eric was on fire.
I think he trying to. Trying to come for you.
Trying to hand the reins back. You right. Most definitely. Trying to hand it back.
Right. I think we need to have a vote. Hitting us with knowledge and wisdom and insight.
Transition after transition.
And one point I was watching the show and I forgot I was in the show. I was just listening.
That's good. Hey. I'm looking for a way to step down. I'm down.
Hey, and you getting up that easy, bro.
Hold up.
Rod, I got your back. Rod. You did a great job.
Yeah. I'm mad. I'm mad enough to admit I can slide to the left. Ain't no big deal with me.
Hey, and I'm man enough to admit I don't want the ring, brother. Got it.
Oh man,
job.
Apartment 4A first. Everybody on
the gang is here.
10 minutes after, boy, we got everybody.
Need to get a screenshot.
Oh, Russia coming.
We on top of it.
Hey, Rod, I like that logo, but as I was looking at that logo when it was transitioning in, I said Eric got about 5 photos just like that. You could have used him. I mean, 5 photos just like that on Facebook right now. From the past updated photos. You could have stole one of his profile pictures and threw it up there.
Hey, we wanted to make sure it was nobody was biased with the picture, man.
Yeah. We try to be equal opportunity to everybody. Since everybody don't have a picture we can put up there, you will put up somebody and we don't know. Yeah, but it's good to see everybody, man. I know y'all talk plenty of noise last week about the last games. I'm sure people got some comments they want to say about these following week games. You know, it is what it is. I can admit it. I'm mad enough, since this episode is about manhood, I'm mad enough to admit my Vikings lost. We lost. It is what it is. We had an opportunity to win. We just lost the game. It is what it is.
It's all right. Welcome to the couch, brother.
Yep. Plenty of room on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
But as a Saints fan, I did kind of enjoy the Vikings losing. It's just a part of it, you know.
It's all good. We beat them enough to be okay.
Oh,
Hey,
I think everybody team isn't on the couch.
Yeah, me and JP still running hard. We're gonna be in the Super Bowl.
Bill's on the couch.
49 still in, so we'll see what happens.
They need to drug test Josh Allen because some don't sit right in my spirit about that.
Somebody to cut his hair.
That's a racist statement. That's a racist statement. Just because he's 6'4", white, 275 pounds,
running like Mike Vick.
Throw it 150
yards. Yep. That sounds like
like Peyton.
In negative 10-degree weather. What's wrong with that?
Yep, sound like a drug test to me.
That's all I'm saying. That's all.
I'm trying to say his lineage
to the NFL.
I'm trying to say his lineage don't produce athletes of that caliber all the time.
Hey.
Went from a JUCO to the NFL.
Hey, that JUCO get you right, man.
One season, Division 2A team. All of a sudden, Greatest quarterback in the league. Yep.
Hey,
Sound
man.
like a
Sounds
dream.
pretty normal to me.
Yeah, carrying the water bucket, carrying the
I
water
bet it
buckets from the
is.
lake to the to the practice facility. Get you strong, man.
Yeah.
Toughen you up.
Running over linebackers, still paying in tackles.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gotta exert your dominance, man.
We'll see who does the Bills play next?
Oh, Cincinnati.
No. Yeah, the Bills got Cincinnati. Kansas City has the Jaguars. San Francisco got the Cowboys, and Philly has the Giants.
So are we giving Super Bowl predictions now, or we wait?
I don't know. At this point, man, I'm
Well, hold up.
I don't care who wins. Tom Brady got whooped. That just warmed my heart, man.
Had a losing season and got whooped.
Oh yeah.
That was a version of a man that used to be Tom Brady.
Oh no, he Tom Brady. He was the GOAT.
Hey, when he got them spikes in his head, got them. That's when I knew it was dope. Oh,
yeah, I just hate that Byron Leftwich had to be a casualty.
Somebody had to go.
Losing season.
Somebody got to take that L. So
somebody got to go.
Couldn't be Tom Brady, apparently.
But I think Byron Leftwich has proved himself. I think he'll get another.
Yeah,
hopefully another OC coordinator job.
Yeah. Because he's been with Tampa Bay for how long? For a while.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I know at least 3 years.
He was there all the years for Brady. I want to say he was there that year before with Jameson. So
yeah. So he didn't prove his worth. So
no doubt.
So I'm gonna put in the call to the Colts. Tell them.
Hey, you get him and get your quarterback. Hey,
it can't get no worse.
We need a whole new staff because head coach,
baby steps,
GM.
baby steps.
Yeah, we on a 3 to 4 year journey. It's all right. 2027, baby, we back.
Yeah,
well, that's a good place to start since Eric can admit that the coach needs some help.
Yep.
That's the first step of being a man. So we'll jump right into it. I know that's what everybody here for.
Wait a minute. Before we start talking, ho. I just want everybody to know the real rivalry is this week.
This
Sunday.
It's the worst
You're right. Cincinnati and Buffalo has become a real rivalry. I just don't know.
that Jags rivalry.
There you go. We got a couple of rivalries. Yeah.
That 49er Cowboy game.
No,
a bunch of
it's
storytelling and field fabrications.
No. This is the best rivalry in football history. You know, us going against that team over there, huh?
Unless Irvin and Rice lining up out there.
I'm telling you. They might get out there.
Unless Steve and Troy come back.
You know, Irvin.
Michael Irvin might get out there now. Rice, he done.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, y'all know it. They know it. Everybody know it. The best game on TV Sunday. You better watch it. Get your popcorn ready. The best rivalry in NFL history.
Well, I will say that people gonna watch it. I mean, the highest rating game for the weekend was the Cowboy game. Yeah. So people gonna watch it because of the Cowboys. So it is what it is. Everybody, they even rooting for the 49ers or hoping the Cowboys lose. You know.
I'm rooting for the Jags.
What? Is 49ers and the Bills in the Super Bowl?
I like it.
I'm willing to bet your left toe.
I like it.
It's gonna be at least watch Super Bowl left.
I don't know why, but I kind of agree with Willie. The Jazz is just they continue to stick out to me. So
Sunshine taking them to the championship. The comeback
who did they beat last week?
I understand they just
beat last week.
They beat an NFL caliber team. That's what they beat.
Playoff team.
Who did they beat?
They weren't the worst team in the NFL. I'll tell you that. Cause we at home.
Who did the Jaguars beat?
They beat the Chargers.
They beat the Chargers.
The Super Bowl champs.
Chargers. Talent everywhere.
No, my bad.
They had Chargers had 3 picks in the first quarter. And the Jags battled through diversity.
To show how smart the Chargers are, Willie. To show how smart the Chargers are, they were winning 27-0, right?
Oh, I saw.
The Jaguars came back and won. They fired the offensive coordinator instead of the defensive coordinator. I just don't see it. What sense that make? But you gave up 27 points and a half.
We gonna see what the 49ers do, because I feel like as good as run the 49ers been on, they ain't beat nobody. The best team they play with.
We got our 33 quarterback.
Hey, I understand, but y'all played Kansas City and lost the best team y'all played. Everybody else, the only team y'all beat with a real record was Seattle. Everybody else in that schedule was rough.
Do you see how hard? Do you know how hard it is to win with your third string quarterback?
Hey,
not your
football. It's football. Next man up.
Well, Sunday.
It's the reason he got drafted 7th round.
Well, have that excuse ready when y'all play one of the top 10 defenses in the league. And if y'all lose, I want to hear we had our third string.
I will say, and I'm not a Cowboy fan by no means, but if they play like they played the other night, it's gonna be hard to beat them.
Dang.
And the Buccaneers suck too. Buccaneers suck. The team that the Buccaneers played suck. It's over. Come on, it's us and the Giants. We going another old rivalry, and then we're gonna whoop the Giants, and then us and the Bills. Take it to the bank.
Hey, all they gotta do is keep getting picks off of that.
You better not sleep on Danny Dimes now.
All right.
I said us and we take it to the bank.
We go.
Bank.
So we'll never get past this, because I know we'll be on the 49ers tail for the rest of the show.
He a new 49ers fan.
Today's episode, outside of football, because we can't help it, we have to talk about football every episode until it's over with. But today's episode, we're talking about manhood and what manhood really is. If you think about some of the phrases that you heard when you were little, like real men don't cry, real men don't wear pink, man up.
Yep.
If you ain't bleed, no tears, no blood, no fire.
But did you die though?
Did you die?
Terrible.
Get back out there.
Get back out there.
These are all phrases that were still being used, in the 90s when all of us were growing up. And basically trying to learn who we are and becoming the men that we are today. So let's start off with the easy one, I guess the biggest one. Today as millennials, people born between 1980 and I forget what year it was, but whatever. What is a man? What is the definition of a man?
Getting controversial.
Yeah, just jump right into it.
What is the definition of a man?
There you go, Terrence.
Well, then.
Since you spoke first.
The state or the period of being a man rather than a child. That's just the basic definition. And when you're not a child anymore, that's considered manhood. But I think we go a little bit deeper with manhood nowadays. Is more of someone who is responsible for what they are over and what they are in charge of. That's my definition. Whatever you in charge of, whatever you got responsibility over, and you seeing that you are a man, you are in manhood when you taking responsibility of what you have been given.
I like that.
That's a good definition. Anybody want to add to it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll piggyback off of that. Yeah, I definitely agree with Terrence said. Responsibility is a big part of being a man. And I think the ability, once you have a family, you have kids and things, the ability to lead and to set the example on how you want your family, your future to be. I think that plays a big part in being a man. Being able to lead your household, and at the same time, if you don't have a household, just within yourself, being a man, having goals, having things that you want to accomplish, actually accomplishing them, and just leading by an example.
Okay, I totally agree, especially with some of the things that Quincy put in there: a visionary, a leader, a teacher, a cultivator, a provider, protector. I just like to add to all of that is somebody who's willing to admit their mistakes. Sometimes I think one of those things that they get in our way, we not admit. People are scared to admit that they're wrong or that they did something or they made a mistake. And so sometimes just being man enough to say, "Hey, I was wrong. I apologize," and let's kind of grow and learn from it together, I think is a big quality of a man.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I think that kind of, and just with you saying that, then I think about. I know me personally, a part of manhood is all about the sacrifices, like thinking beyond yourself, especially when you have other people involved. It's like I can sacrifice this so that I can have that, or my family can have that. So I think that plays a major part in manhood, being able to make those sacrifices. For either family, friends, or whichever it may be.
Yeah, y'all took all my good points. But but no, just kind of what was in my mind was, not only being responsible for everyone and everything around you, but being responsible for yourself as far as, cultivating yourself, taking care of yourself. I think that's a part of it as well. Because you only as able as, when you're at 100%.
Mhm.
You out here at 50%, not taking care of yourself, not being honest with yourself, not growing and learning, then you kind of useless to other people.
JP Jonathan, I want to give everybody an opportunity to answer this first one because it's a strong definition. It's really who you are. So JP or Jonathan, either one of you.
Yeah, I'll yeah, kind of piggybacking off of everybody. And that's something that we always talk about in football, being responsible for your own actions. But in that's like the pillar that we talk about, but it also broken into different characteristics. And just like what he just wrote on there, some of the characteristics being a leader, being humble, servitude, um, understanding, compassionate, all that stuff goes into the characteristics of being responsible for your own actions. Um, so, like you said, that's one thing that we kind of use in football at Columbus. So that's one thing that we preach about, in regards to being a man.
For sure. Jonathan?
I had to figure out how to get it off me. Uh, my definition is just somebody who takes responsibility. Because I just feel like if you take responsibility for whatever you need to do, that will cause you to be a man.
Okay. Okay. So as we grow into a man, and all of us were even born in 1984 or 1985. Um, what are some of the qualities that you even saw that you were taught? You know, basically through the 90s, because 84, 85, we were still babies. So basically in the 90s, what some of the qualities or things that you were taught or that you picked up on, whether it be father figures or uncles, cousins, whatever, as you grew up.
My grandfather was the perfect example of a man. To me, that's who I tried to emulate myself out there. Someone who everybody wanted to be around. Someone who was extremely responsible for the stuff that he was in charge of. Someone who can work with their hands. I mean, just by anything you can think of to build, he was able to do it. People always came to him if they needed something, not just needed money, but needed some kind of assistance in the sense of a word or help with a project. But it's like that leader of the community, as in wasn't trying to be the leader, but because of his personality, because of his character, people followed him.
Mhm.
Yeah. I kind of piggyback that, my dad, grandfather, my uncles, it was kind of a big thing for us, especially for me. It was really about that last name. My last name Thurman, and um, you know, when I would introduce myself, it's like, oh, you one of them Thurman boys. So that name in itself just meant a lot to me. And so to understand that they had the reputation that people came to them, they trusted them, they knew that they were good people in that community, made me say, well, I got to at least at minimal be on that same level, because I don't want to let that name be tarnished because I wasn't responsible, didn't do what I need to do.
Yeah, I guess I'll piggyback off it. My prime example growing up was my dad. Provider first, always was busy. He was never just idle. Was always doing something. Like Terrence said, in the neighborhood, or even in my town of West Point, everyone knew my dad. They either knew him from school, knew him from refereeing. He did taxes, knew him from work. Just knew they knew it, and his name was good. So like Rod said, you want to live up to that name. So that's what I saw. And even now, because my father's passed, but my father-in-law, he's a great example. He's a provider. He's great with kids, with the youth. He's always pushing the youth to think about your next move. Like if he's in a barbershop, if he's just out and about, he'll pull up to the side like, "What's your plan? What you got going on?" And he's very passionate about it. So I think that's within those two examples, and I'm still picking up things from my father-in-law. A provider, a pillar in the community, someone who listens, someone who can guide, and someone who can sometimes just identify if someone needs help.
Yeah, Quincy says he feels me on that surname thing. I definitely not going to tarnish my family name by being foolish. Yeah, absolutely. We all had those opportunities to do right by our family. We most definitely didn't want to be the one messing it up. JP, I think I seen you unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically same thing. That's one thing. My father as well. And that's one thing that small town, small community, and that's one thing you should always put into. Your name means a lot and it carries a lot. And just like everybody else said, when everybody see your dad, hey, everybody know him, and he'll be the one that always be, ask for forgiveness because he always try to see the good in people. And like you said, if he couldn't get it done, he'll try to get it done. He'll put somebody in position to get it done. So my dad was big, man. When people talk about superheroes and stuff like that, man, I put him up there above Batman, Robin, Superman, and all of them. You know what I mean? So he was just that guy to me. You just wanted to walk in his steps and be just like him. And the biggest thing, make him proud. So he was my big example. And like Willie just said, my dad had been dead for a while too. So, he was my biggest example.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. So I kind of gravitated to you guys when we made a Southern Miss because I could see the impact that y'all having fathers and father figures had on y'all. That's what drew me to y'all because I didn't, my dad, he was around, but definitely wasn't a great example for me. So I kind of, had to put one together, just with kind of what I thought in my mind a man should do. Obviously, being able to fix things, work with your hands, being resourceful and things like that. Slow to anger, kind of, being able to keep yourself in check and kind of operate in different situations. But yeah, for me, just kind of big thing is being able to figure things out, like being somebody that people could come to for help. And then meeting you guys and, all of y'all got various skills and, contributions y'all make to society and wherever y'all go, that's kind of been reinforced with me through y'all.
Hey, right on, Eric. That's what's up.
All right.
And so, speaking of that, what you said, Eric, especially coming to college, at what age do you feel like a boy should be transitioning at least to a man? I'm not gonna say become a man, but at what age should you be making that transition? 16, 18, 21, 25, whatever. Like, in your opinion, what you think?
So if we saying a man is somebody who takes responsibility for themselves and the things around them, I mean, that's something that you should be from the time you get something that's yours as a young boy. You should be making that transition. It's not a quick transition. I think it's a long transition because you're developing habits and learning skills and getting feedback, learning about yourself. So I think it's kind of I don't say a lifelong process, but it's one that starts very young.
I think when you get your first job, because now it's not about your parents' name anymore. It's not about what your parents do. It's all about you. As in, when you clock in, they're not going to look at, hey, this is such and such son. Most likely, they're going to say, this is Rod, this is Taryn, this is Willie. What's their work habit? And so you start building that. Am I going to be the person who people depend on at work, or I'm going to be that shammer, that person who, if there's work going on, I'm the opposite direction. I think your first job, your first official job, where you getting a paycheck and you getting taxed, that's when that transition to manhood starts. And that's the foundation. Whatever foundation you build there, that's what you're gonna stand on for the rest of your life. I think however you start right then, whatever work habits you have then, that's what you're gonna have down the road.
Jonathan, what you think, man? When is a good time for a boy to be transitioning into a man?
I'm gonna agree with Terrence, and normally I don't do that, so this is real new to me.
Very new.
Yeah.
But I will agree with that. Once you get your first job, I do think sometimes we try to push our kids too fast, and so when they feel like you pushing them too fast, and they try to be grown, so they try to be grown, and we have too many little kids that they did grown. So I think once you get your first job and try to learn some responsibility, um, I think that's when you start doing that transition. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I definitely I like what Jonathan said right there about pushing kids to if you got to work or do, and some kids have to work, get jobs early. And I worked when I got a job when I was 16. Now it wasn't that I was being pushed to get it, but it was by choice. I wanted to buy my own. I had things I wanted to do. So like everybody else said, it starts at an early age. But for me, I felt like mine was really starting to kick in when I got to college, because at that point I didn't have family with me. I was 2.5 hours away from family. I was there. So everything is on me. I have to be responsible for going to class, responsible for the people I meet, the people I hang with. So, and I feel like it starts then. And like I said, it's a process. And certain things in life, fast track it. Like a certain point in my life where I find out I got a child on the way. Hey, that fast tracks a lot of responsibilities and things you want to be as a man, because now it's really on your back. Like, I got to do X, Y, Z in this amount of time. So it's always a process, and we always growing. It's just being mindful of things and taking it in and actually implementing it in your life. Yeah.
Okay. So
I kind of think that little going to class comment was a little shade, but it's all right though. It's all right.
It's
Hey,
however you
It's
receive
all
it,
right.
bro.
It's all right. It's all right.
I was trying to be the example, but apparently
you
somebody,
roll off on everybody.
I won't name no names. Somebody.
You did have a roommate.
Hey! I don't blame. I blame myself.
Yeah.
I should have been a better example.
Exactly. Because my roommate left me in the bed.
But y'all didn't have the same class.
Hey, we're just okay though. It's okay though. Go on here, Rod. We ain't gonna we ain't gonna get back on this conversation.
So actually, that's a good question here. Does the transition start when you get your first girlfriend? She's asking because girls are usually held to a standard of having the responsibility of women early in relationships.
No, I don't think so.
They
They
be
are
young, they be
extremely
young
cute.
and dumb.
They are extremely dumb and extremely young.
So my
I
so
don't
my comment to that is
me,
we've
that
always
might take you
told
back a
that
couple steps.
we've always told that women, girls per se, they mature faster than guys. So I think guys are looking for that at 15, 16, they expect you to be treating like differently because they still child, they still children. Dudes, it's still dudes I know that's in their 20s that still act like children.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so the women they have always been mature, if they even a word, uh than the guys.
So
So I don't think they held to that standard. I think they're just life.
my question to that though, is it like that because that's what we say, or because that's what we allow? Because my thing is, you know, the women or girls at that time do hold a lot of responsibility as far as how far certain things can go. Because at the end of the day, if a woman say no, that's pretty much the end of whatever it is. And I ain't talking about just sex, just in general. If she say well, she don't want to go to the movie, ain't nobody going to the movies more than likely. you know. So, but at the same time, are women maturing, or men not maturing because we say, well, women mature faster than men. So the man is like, well, shoot, I ain't got to grow up right now because she gonna grow up first anyway.
Well, my mama took care of me. Now my girlfriend's gonna take care of me. My wife gonna take care of me. Why didn't you grow up for?
But see, Rod, let me tell you about what you just said. And see, that's where we're stuck right now in society at. Because right now no one is talking to the young girls about the power of no. And so boys, like what Jonathan said, boys just being young, dumb, and just full of excitement. They just running everywhere. You know what I mean? And the men, we're not taking time out to teach about, what the whole purpose of a lot of stuff is. So that's one of the biggest issues, I think. But like you said, with the transition period of manhood, you know, I agree with you guys too. Once you get that first real official job, but all while then we should be training. And then once they get that job, now it's time for them to make the mistakes, recall what they taught, and learn from it. That's, like I said, being responsible of one's own actions. Because whatever you do as a man, like you said, you made your bed, you got to lie in it.
And I agree with you, JP, to an extent. I think that the girls may not be taught how important or how strong the word no is, but I think, just like you said, we should be training these guys that it's not okay not to, I guess you say, mature. At the same time, we got to teach these guys. We can't say, well, boys gonna be boys, just let them do that. At some point we got to say, hey, some of this stuff got to change. We're gonna train these guys and teach them how to be respectful, teach them how to be honorable to girls or women or whatnot, and not just say, "Oh, he just 14, just doing what I did when I was 14." Well, it was wrong when you were doing it at 14. It's wrong when you doing it. And so,
So
go ahead, John.
I agree with what you're saying, Rod. But also, who teaching these girls? Because I see these girls every day, and it's amazing the stuff that they do for these dudes that they just let them take advantage of them. Like, it ain't no way. It ain't no way these new girls, they different. They different. I don't understand it.
You know who's
I
teaching them?
think in our little younger generation, we had some girls that said no. These girls now, they just do whatever. I don't know
But
why.
you know who's teaching them? Their parents. And they may not be teaching them as in this is what you should do, but the girls are watching. And if it's not their parents who they're watching social media. That's the whole idea behind. That's the whole push for social media. Live your life, live your truth.
And see these girls that saying yes and doing this and that, they're running dudes because if this girl want to do it, this girl will. This girl will, or 4 or 5 of these other girls will, and so the dudes that we are, the ones that had standards that did this and that, now they just move on, go to somebody else, and so they're like they're spoiling our younger dudes. Our younger dudes are spoiled.
But see, but to me, I guess that's where we missing the boat at is, we putting all that on the little girl, but who teaching the men not to treat the women like that? Who teaching the men that, hey,
Right.
you shouldn't be
But
going to females and expecting them to do all this stuff for you, or trying to get them to, do whatever or not do whatever, take care of you, buy you stuff, whatever the case may be. Like, who teaching them not to do that?
I feel like, and I'm not around the younger culture like that, but like to me, I almost feel like what's wrong is right. You feel me? Like I don't want the respectful. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want this. I want this guy that's doing it. This is what I see via social media, via I see it at home or wherever I see it. So something is being taught. It might not be right, but it's something being taught. And then the question I would have is, well, how do you get through to the kid? That's I mean, you could teach at home, of course. You're gonna guide your kids and anyone that's close around you. You always gonna reach out. But just like I hinted on with my father-in-law, is if he's at the barbershop on Saturday and say it's a group of guys, football team, he'll try to talk and he'll call us with like, these kids just have no clue. It's like the conversations go nowhere. So and he's trying. You feel me? So
It goes, Willie, but peer pressure is real. And like you said, all the standard, all the stuff that they see, they think is okay and cool. But when you actually talking and teaching and telling one, if you teach this one young man, this how you treat a girl, like Johnny said, this how you treat a girl, this how you treat it, this is standards that you're looking for. Well, all the girls that he think he like or whatever, trust me, they doing some stuff that's recorded video, and he's like, bump this, I'm gonna go ahead and join the party. And that's the problem. No one has a standard, guys or girls, and it's just free ball.
So let me ask y'all this: do y'all think that, because I know going back to what Terrence said, like a lot of kids are learning what to do, whether directly or indirectly, from their parents. Like, do you think that they're coming from households where they have a mother and a father, or are they like single parent households usually? And I say that to say because I was watching a lady give a presentation, and she was going over statistics as far as children and circumstances they can end up in, and she was saying that a child that comes from a household with both parents will obviously have a lower chance of being in a fair relationship, lower chance of going to prison and things like that. But she was saying that the statistic was the same for a child that was raised just with a father, but they were at much higher risk of incarceration and fair relationships if they were raised by a single mother. So with us talking about men and the responsibility and the weight and the impact that has, like, do we think a lot of these kids are acting the way they acting because they don't have a father figure?
The ones I come across, all the ones I come across, is usually a single parent household. But there are a couple I come across that they have a dual parent household and they just act a fool because they act a fool. But I'll say probably 75% of them is a single parent household, with the mother being that single parent. And this story, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This story I tell all the time because this story right here rocked my soul. I was taking TJ Lana and Leah to a Pee Wee football game, and they was cheerleading. And TJ was too young, so I'm there at the game with all these parents and whatnot, and the majority of the people there is females. as in the parents, because the females are bringing their sons there to play football, and the females are bringing their daughters there to cheer. And it was early. It was in Wiggins at 7:00 that morning. The game started like 7:30. This mother was trying to wake her son up, say, "Hey, man up! You need to get up. You need to act like a man. You need to get it together." And I'm saying, is that possible for a woman to teach a little boy how to be a man? Can the boy truly understand the whole idea of man up when a woman is man? Question I ask you guys.
See, and I'm glad you asked that question, because that's what I was just going to talk about. Like when I first got in teaching, the best parents were single parents, because they held their child to a certain standard. They knew what they wanted, and they disciplined their child. You know, tell them, no, we're not gonna do this. I got this going on in my life. You know where we at, and you know, that was that reinforcement. I ain't been teaching that long, but now it done got all out of whack. From single parents, from married kids, you know, the I know we're talking about manhood, but like you said, being responsible for one's own actions, the entitlement. Well, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You don't have to fight through adversity. You don't have to, if you're sick, you don't have to go to work. You know, but those are all the things that we were told growing up that you had to do. If you're sick, you better go to work. You know, you got to go to school. If you know, if you need this pay, you better find a way to sacrifice to get that bill paid. You know, we getting away from that. But the answer, no.
I think it's difficult. I won't say that he can't find or can't understand what a man is completely, but I think it is most definitely more difficult for him to get an understanding, because he don't look at his mama like a man. He look at his mama like his mama. And you know, she trying to tell him to man up. And he like, what you mean man up? Because I don't see no man manning up. So all he know is to do what he see. And if all he sees is his mama, you know, it's harder for him to understand it. I'm not saying that he can't, but it's most definitely harder.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's a lot more. I guess kind of being in that situation where, you know, you see your mother and she's, you know, kind of got to do both roles. You see which role come out on top. Like mothering don't come out on top if she got to be the mom and the dad. She end up kind of being more masculine, but she's still not a man at the end of the day. So it's really, you really at a disadvantage as a young boy being raised by a mother, because in y'all's, in like when the question was posed to y'all as far as like examples of manhood, y'all went straight to the person that y'all just watched. And the older you got, the more mature you got, the more you understood what you were seeing, but you still had something that you saw to where if you encountered a situation, it was almost like having a study guide. It's like, well, I saw my dad do this in this situation, so I'll do it. I don't fully understand it, but you're at least walking in that direction. You're forming those habits. Whereas, you know, if you have a mother, you know, mothers want to protect you. They don't want no harm to hurt, you know, hurt to come by you at all costs. You know, dad, hey, he gonna bump his head, let him bump his head. We'll figure it out. He gonna have to learn. He gonna have to toughen up. You know, hey, he gonna have to reap what he sowed. You know, fathers are very much tend to be very functional with their teachings, because they know you as a man, you have to get out there and do it. And so I think that there's some differences definitely between having a mother and a father, speaking personally. You know, she can she can wrong, but it's at the end of the day, it's not the same.
Yeah, I agree with Eric. It's definitely not. It's not the same. And even me growing up, I spent more time with my mom than I did with my dad. And my mom, she always preached, you know, I can't teach you how to be a man. You know, and like Eric said, I watched and I saw habits of my dad and what he did through his day-to-day life. Me not knowing if it's good or if it's bad, or if I'm supposed to work 60 hours a day, I'm supposed to do this. This is what I saw.
Yeah.
But I think at some point a young man has to have some type of male figure in his life. because you have questions, you have things you want to know, and even like Eric said, we served a purpose for him when he got to college. It's the same way with me, with you guys, some of my frat brothers, people, friends that I grew up with. Like I feel you have to have a male some form in your life, because like you say, it's things that your mom or woman just can't teach you about being a man.
Yeah.
I think one of my, if you watch a lot of TV shows, I think one of my greatest idea of a man is everybody hates Chris. Julius. Julius Julius was a great example of a man and a father in that sitcom because he did everything. I mean, he stood on what he believed in. He stayed. I mean, I feel like that was the greatest example of a father.
Yeah, like we said at the beginning, we was giving our definition of a man about being responsible, being a provider, protector, teacher, being somebody who can admit their faults. That example is that thing. And I think one of the things that helped all of us is when we got to college, like Willie said, like Eric said, not only did we see values in each other as far as us growing, but we was allowed to grow together as men. Like we had each other. It's like, okay, my dad or my uncle, whoever taught me so much to get me to this point. And now I've got a group of like-minded people that I can grow with, make mistakes. Somebody can call me, hey man, you was a little wrong. And somebody can call you out or do whatever. And you can take that and say, he ain't just being mean, he ain't just talking about me. He actually trying to help me become a better person. And so I think, us being able to make that transition into college and watch each one of us grow. I mean, like Terrence said at the beginning, I think Willie said it too, having a child, kind of fast track some stuff. And seeing all of us with kids and making that transition, getting married and moving on to whatever, I think all that helped us grow into becoming a stronger or better man. And now here we are. I won't say y'all age.
Don't say it, man. Don't say it.
Hey, I just turned 25, man. I'm chilling, good.
That brother just said being a man is about responsibility.
Take responsibility of that age.
You are not taking responsibility.
but you just ran in the 40 today. I'm feeling good.
I think Eric said it best. Being around you guys really was a good example of how you can operate as a man, the good and the bad. I remember this one time we was in an apartment, and you know how that you have that whole father presence, and you just walk in the room and you turn the TV off, and you don't have to say a word, and when that TV gets turned off, it's time to go to bed. You don't have to say not one word. Just walk in, turn the TV off.
Hey, I was tired anyway, man.
I guess it's bedtime.
Yeah, I was stretching. I was on the way to my room.
Yeah, it was. I was just about to turn that off, man. I was saying to myself, that TV kind of loud, man. We need to go ahead and turn that down. I appreciate that. Appreciate that accountability.
You get quiet, and sometimes you don't have to say no word. When your daddy come in the house and say, "Hey man," he just look at everybody y'all doing. He just look at you. That's enough.
I used that technique today.
Yes, sir.
Light off.
Oh yeah.
What's up in there? Pop, turn it off. Everybody go to bed.
Hey, look. I don't know if there's just favorite father pastime. I'd do that.
Got to
just cut stuff off.
That's what you grow up to do. You got to get your payback.
I get a little bit of joy out of it. I don't even get mad.
I get a lot of joy out of it.
Y'all a bully. Y'all done turned into grown bully.
Nah, ain't no bully.
It really ain't about being a bully. And speaking of that, JP, it's not about being a bully. It's just sometimes as a man, you don't have to say nothing. Like my son, like even now, I know he in there playing, clowning, because I can hear him because he's supposed to be going to bed. But I can walk in there. I don't have to say nothing. When I turn that corner, he gonna look at me. I'm gonna look at him. And he just gonna lay down because he know what the deal is.
Yeah,
I don't have to tell him to stop.
Hey, that's at this point of fatherhood, half my job is just to walk in and just stare. Like, hey,
them eyebrows.
Oh, y'all stay bully. Y'all a bully.
They ain't no bully, man. My
No.
favorite thing to do when my 7-year-old thinks she being slick and she'll have like her phone or something in the bed after it's bedtime. I see her. She think I don't see her. I just walk in there, pull back the covers, take the phone, just walk out.
Yeah, you don't have to explain that.
Nah,
Oh,
it
you
don't take
gotta-
no talking.
Got to explain nothing.
Yeah, she know we gonna try again tomorrow. You messed up today. You figure it out tomorrow. Try again.
And so
Bully.
here, Quinn got a good point. He said, I know for me, I found a lot of being a man for some of my older frat brothers. I lost my father at 9 and had my grandfather, but had already raised his kids and had uncles, but they lived out of town. So having a good examples of man was slightly hard. And, like you said, when he got to school, he found it in his frat brothers. And, that's just what we do as men. We able to transition and understand where our faults are and be able to grow from what. Now, speaking on JP and bullying, let's talk a little bit about masculinity, and kind of leveling that out, especially being fathers, and also being African Americans, because as African American, we have to have this level of masculinity at all times, same way. But when you come home, that level of masculinity is a little different at home than it is at work or out with the fellows or whatever. So, what do you think the status of masculinity in millenniums today?
It's completely different. It's completely in a sense where the whole hugging your son, kissing your son, and being affectionate to your son. That we didn't get that in our generation. I don't know about you guys. I did.
Yeah.
That's true.
I didn't for other reasons, but
But no, I didn't either. Yeah.
But now I feel like it's necessary for kids to know that their father truly loved them, as in a sense where it's just like your mama love you, but no, I love you too, just as much as your mother loved you. Right. I want to show you that affection too, but I'm also gonna be extremely stern with you. I'm gonna punch you in your chest if I feel like punching you in your chest if you ain't listening to me.
Yeah, I agree with Terry. Because, we grew up in a different time. Like, I feel like how some of our fathers, if they was raising some of these kids, it'll be problems on every level. Because, like Terry say, like, you may not got that affection from your dad, which I can always admit, growing up in my house, dad wasn't affectionate, but he provided, he did everything. Like, I understood. But like Terry said, I think now you have to go that extra mile because kids need it. Our young black boys and girls, they need that from both sides, from the father and the mother. So now we get older and we know how our parents were. Like, you take the good, you learn, and then when you become a parent, well, I'm not gonna do this that way. I'm gonna do it this way. Because what's right.
Yeah,
man. Go ahead.
No, you good, JP.
No, you got it. Look, the only time my daddy told me he loved me, and when he pulled out his thick leather mason belt and told my little black end up. After he get through, he always say, "Man, you know I love you." So, but at the end, like now, I tell everybody, that's my kids, my wife, everybody. Like you said, I even tell my football players, man, I love you, because like Willie said, man, you just never know. This generation is different, man. They don't hear it. They don't hear it enough, and and they don't understand what love is. Discipline is love. You know what I'm saying? If I'm telling you doing something wrong, that means I really do love you because I don't want you to go down the wrong road. So like you said, it's just
and I'll kind of piggyback off of that. Like it's really a different environment, right? Like I think in previous generations, just being out in the world, you had a lot more straightforward physical threats, and being a man was just kind of being able to, protect yourself and your loved ones, mostly physically and providing some emotional, well, not necessarily emotional, but like some mental protection, right? They know like, hey, if daddy here, we're safe. That means I can be a kid. I can, enjoy myself. I can be a little bit more free. Now it's a lot more covert, and you might be able to get that job that your parents couldn't get or your dad couldn't get. But now being in an environment, it has a different effect. It's not a physical threat anymore. It's a mental or emotional threat. And so you need that fortification, I think, in a emotional and mental way. Um, so learning emotional range and maturity, I think is key for black men now. And we just in a place in life where, we can just now start to explore that and understand that and, become more comfortable in our masculinity. And, like Terrence was saying, like hugging your son, kissing him, telling you love him, that means a lot. Like just being, I guess for me, like I know I didn't have that growing up, and getting any sort of, feedback from another man, like I don't know if it was just kind of like FOMO or just not having it, but I'm not gonna lie, it always meant more than any kind of words of affection from a woman. Just because it is, it's basically validation. Like a woman
Oh
can't
yeah.
validate a man, but another man seeing you doing what he's doing, like, hey, I'm trying to do what you're doing. Like, hey, you doing good. Like,
Right.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. And I think some of the most powerful words that you could ever tell your son is "I'm proud of you." I
No
can
doubt.
remember the couple of times my dad has said that. I don't often remember him saying the words "I love you" or giving me a hug, but I can remember the times he said, "Hey man, I'm proud of you." And so, those type of things really made an impact. And so, for me now having a son is kind of the same way. I want to make sure that he understands that, I love him, but I'm also proud of him. Now,
Mhm.
he just 5, and I tell him, when he do something like, sometimes he try to do stuff at school, see what he can get away with, and all I have to say is, hey man, I'm disappointed in you today. And you would think I'd have beat him down with a stick or something. 'Cause
Mhm.
yeah,
that probably hurt more than anything, because the last thing any son want to do is disappoint his father. And so,
yeah,
those are some good words that you can leave. And ain't nothing wrong with hugging him, man. Like today, my he was playing with a little bouncy ball. Y'all remember the little rubber bouncy balls? And
oh
so
yeah,
I walked in the house. He had just bounced it and hit himself in the eye. And he was hollering like his eye had fell out. And I'm like, come here, man. Your eye still there. You're not
Mhm.
bleeding. Your eye not swollen. None of that stuff. I said,
hmm
but I had to tell him at the same time, it's okay to cry. It's okay. It hurt. That's fine. But I
yeah,
want you to understand also that you're gonna be okay. Like it's
Right.
not the end. Like
yeah,
I try to get my child to understand that you can cry, but you don't have to be overboard. You have to go overboard. Like
yeah,
it's okay to hurt, but don't kick and scream. Like we don't do that.
yeah,
But
Right.
like if it hurt, that's different. But we're not gonna fall out. We're not gonna just scream and
Right.
holler to try to get what I want because I want to have my way. Now you be upset.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
no,
You
no, we
Yeah.
I
doing
ask
that.
all the time. I say, "Who you mad at?" Because I don't want the fallouts. Now, if you got an issue, we can talk. But the fallouts and the just scream, like you're not even crying, you just screaming. You cut that out.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah, and definitely what you just said, I think I feel like in today's society, that's a big part of a very important part of being a man, especially if you got kids and anything, like explaining to kids about emotions and how to control. And it's not bad to show emotion, but it's time, because I have the same conversation with my son. Like I tell, it's fine to show emotion. You can show emotion. It's times where you show a little bit too much for no reason, but as you
Mhm.
get older, you'll learn it. But right now, I'm helping you out. I'm explaining you that it's all right,
yeah,
because I'm pretty sure with a lot of us growing up, that the masculine, what you saw, it was just like I was almost nervous, like being grown up from what I saw. Like Dad worked all the time. He worked on the car. He changed the oil. He fixed this. He fixed that. I'm like, I can't do none of that. So, but in the aspect of a lot of that, it has kind of changed because you don't have to do all that stuff now. It's good to know how to fix things, how to work with your hand. I have that. I have that enthusiasm to get out there and try. But we all must know our limits and capabilities in life. Nothing wrong with that. So I think it has changed. And like for us, because I don't think we are those men of the past that we saw. I think we've changed and we're different. Now this next generation, as y'all said, it's a whole nother conversation. But I think from what you see and what we've learned from men over the time, it has evolved.
Yeah.
So, John, let me ask you a question. I know because you see quite a few kids, especially throughout the school at Tans, you would know as well. What are the biggest differences that you're seeing in, I would say, teenagers? And I guess you could say, preteen as well, but more so in particular teenagers as they make their transition because, they're starting to transition into their version of manhood. And so, what are some of the biggest differences that you see in them that wasn't in yourself?
Okay, one thing I'm gonna say before I say this is not all teens, but a lot of them just don't care. They do not care. They don't care. You know how it was a certain way we went to school. It was a certain way you made sure that your hair was cut or brushed, and you made sure your clothes was kind of iron. I don't think people iron anymore, but I still do. You made sure you was neat and everything. These kids go to school, they do not care. They wrinkle, where they wear what they want to wear. Uh, the older generation, and I ain't talking about school kids. It's just older generation that I noticed. They don't want to work. They don't have to work. Apparently. They work when they want to. Somehow they live free off somebody. I don't know who it is. They come to work when they want to, and they don't. They don't show up. They a whole lot different. Now me, growing up, I was always older than my age, and I'm still older than my age right now. And so I was always trying to hustle, to make some money. I was doing stuff. I'm still trying to hustle to make some money. I'm over here.
Man.
I'm over here baking and making dominoes right now. Working on a flyer right here on my computer while y'all while we're on the podcast, trying to make some money. But
Hey,
they
I
don't
agree
care.
with
They
that.
just somebody is giving it to them or something. I don't know. I think a lot of the maturity and the responsibility of something has shifted somewhere, whereas they're not taking responsibility no more. I think about all these young kids that are now killing people and shooting and stuff, and now they serving life and stuff in prison and stuff. And at 21 and 22 years old, it's like you just why? I don't understand it. So it's been a little major little shift in some of the guys.
I agree with that.
And just I completely agree with Jay Key. They take no ownership in anything, as in their actions, their appearance, their words. They don't take responsibility in anything. I can watch them do something. I mean, with my own two eyes. I said, "Why did you do that? I ain't do that. That wasn't me. Why you always picking on me? Why you always targeting me?" I mean, it's like it's scary how they cannot take responsibility, and that is goodness, that's terrifying to me.
Right.
So Terrence, I think you got an interesting perspective being a police officer as well. Do you see any like commonalities between like kind of their delusion and like some of the criminals that you dealt with?
You know what? The criminals I dealt with, that was, be honest, the last time I really honestly dealt with a criminal was 10 years ago. But this group right here is completely different. Man, I used to arrest folks and they used to own up to what they was doing.
Right.
You got me. I can't even lie. You got me fair and square. But now, I mean, I can pull a vape out their pocket. I said, "What is this?" I don't know. That ain't mine. That's somebody else. I'm holding it for somebody. I mean, take no ownership, no responsibility. And the sad part is, and I see why they do it, because their parents are back them. Said, I'm watching a video of this kid doing game handshake, and the mother watching the video too. I said, first before he did anything, I said, "This your son?" See, yeah, it looks like him. And then after he did all that, she said, "How do you know that's my son?" So you just said that was your son. How do you know that was my son? You just picking on him. Oh my God. Yeah. You know what?
At that point, I mean, what can you
do? Have a good day, because we're not going
right. Hey, Taylor, just off what you just said, I remember years and years ago when I was just a full-time bus driver, they had some stuff going on one of the buses. So they called all the parents in to watch the video of what was going on the bus. Do you know the parents thinking, okay, parent gonna see your child and say, you ain't finna do this on the bus. You know what the parents left saying? Why y'all recording our kids on the bus anyway?
Or another one that I like that I watch called that I see all the time. What about that kid right there? I said, we're not talking about that kid right now. We're talking about your kid. You're responsible for your kid. We're talking about your kid right now. Whatever happened to the other kid, that's their problem. But what about your kid? No, you ain't doing anything to the other kid. What y'all doing to the other kid? Pushing the blame, taking no responsibility.
I gotta start somewhere.
So it sounds like the kids are the byproduct of the parents, and the parents really the ones that dropped the ball. And, and they just raising kids with no accountability.
So with that, Eric, then my question is, then who fault is it? And I'm not talking about just as simple as the parents. Like at some point, somewhere there was a disconnect.
Yeah.
Like if my daddy taught me how to be a man, and then I'm teaching my son, like somewhere somebody missed it.
But, so I think the key is your daddy taught you how to be a man, but then not you specifically, but at some point there wasn't a daddy there to teach the next kid how to be a man. Because in all those scenarios, in my mind, this might just be fantasy. In my mind, I see a mother watching the tape and want to protect their child and saying, "How you know this is my child? Why y'all recording them?" But I also see in my head a daddy watching the tape, look at the tape, look at the child, like, "Oh, so that's what we're doing now? Okay, that's fine. I've seen enough. Let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna handle him. Yeah, like that type of like, I'm going to levy some consequences on you, even though the school can't levy them, even though the bus driver can't levy them. You're gonna have some consequences with me because I'm your daddy, and you're gonna get out here and you're gonna know how to act." Like that type of approach to life, and also the respect that it garnered. Because I'm not saying that mothers aren't trying to do the same thing, but especially raising boys, like it just hit different if it's a man. In my opinion,
you know what's the scary trend is now that I'm seeing even more, as in the father is not really in the household, but when there's trouble at school. The mother calls the father to come up there. Now the father's not there to correct the kid.
Yeah,
the father's there is to try to correct the admin, the principal. So they come in like they come in to be pissed and to be mad and just to scare people. And they ask me to come in, and I
you could.
They be like, we got our own version.
We got our angry black man too. Come on.
Somebody get turns in here.
So what you're not gonna do in this office is raise your voice.
So one part,
this is my office. I can raise my voice. You're not gonna raise your voice in this building. Not today.
You're not gonna do it.
One part of the disconnect you can tell from different generation is because now we had to show them videos of what they got going on. That's the thing. If my mom knew I was doing something in the classroom, she had to watch no video. Whatever that teacher said, that's what I did. I can say I didn't do it 20 different ways.
So you calling your teacher a lie? So
if the teacher said I did it,
call this grown woman a lie. Okay.
It's only one time. It's only one time that I know my mama didn't believe, and there was somebody on the, and there was a bus driver, because she said I was acting up on the bus, and my mama know me. She know I don't act up on the bus, so that's the only time she went to bat for me. But other than that, she already knew. She already knew.
Was she right?
Huh?
Was he right?
Yeah, most of it was in Miss Martinez's classroom. Will you remember Miss Martinez's Spanish classroom? Yeah, I ain't paying attention to that because I still can't tell you no Spanish. I really didn't. I talked in there the whole time. She
got fired.
So Quentin said the disconnect began when the community started raising the kids. And Ashley says she agreed with this. The community no longer takes ownership of the people in it, and some of the people no longer wants to be a part of their community either. So speaking of the community, how much do the community or you can say community/church play a part in a person becoming a man?
Nowadays, zero.
Yeah.
Because the community you in, you don't know your community. You don't build community. We don't build community anymore. You have something special if you know the people around you, and you know, and you give them authority to speak into your kid's life. But we don't trust anybody anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say you hit on the head as far as you might know them. Basically, you might treat them like your work friends. Like, hey, how you doing? All right, now your time is up. I'm going away from here. But as far as having a community where if they just see your kids and they can address them directly, they ain't got to worry about, you coming out and flipping out because they trying to discipline them or they trying to address them, some kind of way. Them days pretty much over with, man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, if you have a good church family, you can have that in your church. Like I said, sometimes our churches are turning into just like our communities. We don't connect in our churches either.
Oh yeah. Churches where people go and just socialize. You're not really addressing nothing at church. Now when we leave, we're gonna talk about how bad they was and how crazy they was acting. But
my pastor has said it before. He's like, you want your child to do well in school, and you can't wait till they get to school to try to figure out, how to be a good child. And he said, some of that stuff starts at the church. And then he said, at the same time, though, you can't wait till your child get to church to figure out if you're a good child, because that stuff had to start at home. So if you good at home, you're gonna be good at church. And if you good at church, you'll be good at school, and it's a full circle. You can't. Well, he's not putting it all. He's not saying that it's on the church, and he's saying that he won't. He's trying to get your child into all three of them, at home, at church, and at school. Right. It has to initially start at home. It can't be one of those things where, well, I'm gonna send you to church so you can learn some discipline. Well, no.
Oh yeah.
Right. Learn discipline. Discipline start at the house.
Right. That's what I think. That's why I think like now with our generation, it a lot of the responsibility is heavily on the parents, because like you say, community is not just built like that. A lot of churches, if you go into these mega churches or even some of the small local churches, I mean, are you really getting to know the people? And like I said, are you gonna give these people authority to speak to you if they see my child doing wrong? Can they or would they even say anything, or just keep on going about their business? So that's why I think it's so hard on parents, and that's the reason I get, even when like with grandparents, I be like, I know you're gonna spoil the child, I know you're gonna do this and that, but at the same time, if the child is wrong, call the child out. Don't just blow it over. Don't just do this. Like, if he's wrong, he's wrong. If one of your grandchild is acting this way and you say something, say the same thing to this grandchild. Like, cause it makes a difference. Like, I grew up like that with my grandma on my mom's side. Like, when I went to her house, she never disciplined me. She never said nothing. If I was wrong, I was right. It was nothing. But I had a cousin call him out for anything, whooping. I'm like, you can't like that stuff stays with you, as you get older. So it's
like, ask you a question, Willie. Were you the younger grandchild or the older grandchild?
I was the youngest at the group. I was the youngest at that time.
That makes
because
sense.
but I mean, I
That
get
makes
that,
sense.
but.
Yeah.
But even another one of my cousins, like it was me and her, like grandma, big mama didn't discipline. She didn't say nothing. But
Probably like y'all parents too.
Yeah, it probably has something to do with it too.
Yeah,
I still do with the other ones.
Yeah.
but it was stuff like, and us being grown, me and one of my other cousins, we actually talked about it, and like because I wanted him, to talk to him and how he felt about that situation. It make you feel some type of way, and they want to get that out, they want to vent.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask is, on my dad's side, I'm the oldest grandchild, and then on my mom's side, I'm the second oldest grandchild. And I asked that question. I always felt like at my age, especially being one of the oldest grandchild, that was my responsibility to be the example because I was the oldest one. And so, as I had to understand how the family function, how things roll, like it was my responsibility to show everybody behind me, this how we going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like I wouldn't say they were necessarily harder on me, but I feel like I was the standard. And so if it was one of those things where if Rod can't do it, the rest of y'all can't do it either. So it wasn't that they really had to say anything to them. It was kind of understood. Well, I ain't let them do it. But I mean, I just asked, just kind of.
Okay.
Just like right now, like my mom and dad, they got one grandchild. So I mean,
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lost cause.
Yes, it's over.
I already know that discipline is kind of gonna be totally different. They'll have a one. But
Man, I get it. I totally get it. I just be saying when mine wrong or cutting up, like, hey, at the most, call me.
Put me on the phone.
Yeah,
my mama told me one time, like my son was doing something, and I was like, you might have to get you or whatever. She was like, well, if you go whoop him, you got to take him home. Take him home.
Oh yeah, you gotta do that now. Ain't gonna be able.
By the time I get home, it's too late for what.
It has been disconnected.
Now where was we? Oh yeah, I was mad.
Yeah. Hey, my mama didn't care how long it took. When it was time to give, if she told me at 8:00 in the morning she was gonna whoop me that night, it could be 12:00 in the middle of the night. She coming in that room.
I'm going through my checklist, and whooping your behind was on that list.
It was on that list. I mean, it had to get done.
It definitely was on that list.
So it got pushed to the left. I mean, to the right a little bit, but we
maybe we, and we won't get too far into this. I think y'all might have talked about a little bit last week about sparing the rod for the child. Now, what that discipline is, and I know that discipline is totally different now than today, especially being black men. I mean, whooping was like a chore. And when I was coming up, it was like you do something, a whooping, that's what you was gonna get. That was the end of the discussion. It wasn't too many. And that's it. They have to talk to. But now, I feel like he's just 5, obviously, but there's a lot more talking.
Yeah.
Whooping.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I got 2 girls too, so
Oh yeah, you ain't know.
I done more talking than I ever done in my life. Be mad at myself. I'm talking. I see it not working while I'm saying
it. They're off in La La Land. I put my hands on TJ a whole lot more than I put my hands on girls. If I even put my hands on girls.
Hey, look, I'm lucky I got a pit bull. He catch it.
Somebody got to get it.
Somebody got to catch it. The girls, they get away. They get away a little bit, but that dog, he probably catch it worse.
And so that's part of growing up, and part of that masculinity is understanding, especially for you, Eric and Terrence, having girls and knowing, I can't do this because it's a girl and I'm bad.
Not that I can't. Sometimes you have to. I'm just so hard, so soft hearted around them. I don't want to.
Right.
That's not a case. Because when I have to, shoot.
Yeah.
It hurts me more than it hurts them.
Don't hurt me more than.
So you tell yourself that lie, huh?
Got to.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been great conversation. You know, I was thinking about this episode really all day, and I know we'll talk about it a little bit next week, but this is one of those topics that we kind of create a podcast for, to be able to sit around and talk about, you know, growing into manhood, the different challenges, the things that we did, the things that happened when we was little versus the things that we do now, you know, being a parents and making that transition. So, not to keep us on too long, because we almost at an hour and a half. We starting to run out. Yeah. I wanted to kind of make a quick announcement. I might let Eric announce it because he's a little closer to him than anybody, but I'll put the flyer up and I'll let you take it from there, Eric, if that's cool.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, so next week, kind of continuing with this direction of, you know, manhood and, you know, just kind of what it means to not necessarily just be a man, but just how to take responsibility for yourself, how to grow, you know, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. My cousin, Theo Schaefer, he's going to be our guest speaker. He is a community leader in Charlotte, North Carolina. He has a nice following out there. He's done, you know, TED Talk, very passionate about God, very passionate about communicating life to people, right? Helping people spiritually, mentally, emotionally, being honest about what that looks like in real life, which I think, you know, the Black community really needs. But he's going to be our guest speaker for next week. It's going to be a great show. Definitely tune in. We're going to be publishing all week up until next week. Just verify with him again. We're going to be on. It's going to be a great show.
Oh yeah, outstanding. Yeah, so we can't wait. We love having guests on. So as we continue to do these different topics, talk about manhood, and as we venture into mental health in men, we ask everybody to please come back and join us and kind of give us your feedback. You know, tell us some of the things that you want to hear, some of the things that you want to talk about. Be here to ask Theo some questions. We've known him for a while, for what, you know, almost 15 years now, man.
You're going to put a number on it. That's fine. 15 years.
Yeah. Did y'all know that Theo was born on October the 15th, 1984, and we was born on the exact same day? We are twins.
Oh man, that's what's up.
I should have my birthday every October the 15th.
Yeah, y'all October babies, man. Y'all just stuck in here, man.
Hey, you know,
I don't know what it is.
Baby, we up.
Yeah. I guess if you can't be born in May, October do, you know.
What?
Yeah.
So, well, we appreciate everybody. I'll just let y'all know we do have a couple special things coming up. Like I said, we got Theo coming. We also are approaching fast on our 1 year podcast anniversary. So that'll be here in February. It's actually February the 16th. We're probably going to do some special stuff kind of leading to that. I think we are planning to all get together and do another live show base. We're going to have some better audio for that one. So we got those things coming on, and we got some more guests. Possibly, we've been talking to a couple of apartment 4A guests who've stayed in. Nobody cares what Joy's talking about. You ain't talking about nothing. Take that off my But we got some apartment 4A guests that have actually stayed in apartment 4A with us, and we're trying to get them on if we can work those schedules out. But man, we appreciate everybody for taking some time, continue to show us love over the years. And like always, man, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. Deuce.
Peace.
Just kind of jumped out of nowhere. He was like, hey, man, yeah, stuck it out there. And I was like, what it is?
How much you pay for this? You losing money.
People that smack while they eat
Definitely psycho.
Like it's something that
I was sitting right beside the woman. You know, it's just that y'all ain't a bitch, dude.
Check us out on YouTube, and we'll be going live on Facebook next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until next time, guys, we'll holler at you. Peace.